Alright, it looks like I'm set to go anyway. I'm just trying to kind of figure this part out right about now, as my driver is kind of figuring this part out. And okay, so you're seeing some lights here shortly, or at least you will be. And I'm gonna go ahead and retire my own drivers. It looks like Pope got a good start off of the line, actually. 22 laps here we're looking at tonight at Spa. And the great news is, I think we can do it in the mode we intended. So, looks like Pope's gotten off the line great here. Luca there in second, McCauley up the hill in third. As you can see, dry conditions. It's going to be a drag race down the Kemmel Straight. Luca's going to have the pure speed advantage. And it's going to be Luca headed into the corner in the lead through that Lacombe chicane. And so, Colby Luca taking the early lead here, with Mason Pope now down in second. Corbin McCauley third. Dan Cudmore fourth. Michael Dimitrov rounds out the top five. And again, you just got a window into what the pit strategies will look like. And yeah, just absolutely, utterly baffled as to what's going on with my dear broadcast partner, Mr. Regan McCauley. As again, we had him and then just all of a sudden, we didn't. We haven't been able to figure it out since. So I'm not sure if that's something that would only be corrected by resetting the stream, which hopefully we wouldn't have to do. But again, that's kind of where we are right now, unfortunately, as we try to make sense of everything, honestly. And hopefully, again, we'll be able to make things a little more presentable here. Let's go ahead and do that from our side, as it briefly looks like we have spectator available. As we begin lap 2 of 22. Again, we're looking at laps probably in the high 140s, like for a race pace anyway. As it looks like everyone's gotten through pretty safely here so far, it has to be said. A couple of images here, and hopefully, again, we'll be able to make everything somewhat presentable here for the rest of the evening. And yeah, hopefully we'll have this ready soon enough. Because again, it's a little bit of a strange evening. What else is new here in the EA Sports Formula One world? Who'd have thought we'd be kind of dreaming of the days of going back to NASCAR heat, as Colby Luca picks up a 5-second time penalty here by the looks of things. And so that is your race leader getting dinged right off the hop, as Pope cuts it in on the inside. And that gap between Luca and Pope is right around a second. But again, 5 seconds of penalties here coming Colby Luca's way, and I believe that's for a corner cut. And now as we go to begin lap 3, that'll open up DRS at least. As again, things looking maybe a little bit on the janky side right now, but it is still quality racing that we're seeing. Matter of fact, let's take it to it directly from the angle of the ones who are involved as we try to get everything sorted out here. We're on with Corbin McCauley right now, running in third, which of course is a net second on track, and I believe it's a 3-second penalty. I think I may have given Luca 5 seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds is what he got, and that'd be for corner cutting. As the gap between himself and McCauley in third, less than 2 seconds. So Colby Luca net third on track, as Mike Greathouse picks up 3 seconds worth of penalties for his own troubles. Meanwhile, things tightening up here on the track once again. As we'll watch it from the perspective of, well, the perspective of no one right now, it would appear. Just still from Corbin McCauley's visual. And we'll go to Michael Dimitrov's stream here now, as McCauley was just getting a warning for track limits. See Dimitrov looking like he might make a bit of an adjustment here. And again, we're just trying to figure out if we can get Regan McCauley back live as well. Last we heard, he's going to try restarting the computer. Why not do the old unplug and plug it back in effectively? Seems to work for a lot of other stuff. As again, we're watching from Dimitrov's perspective here, down in 4th place right now. As again, we got ourselves a dry race now as opposed to the full wet 3rd qualifying that we had. As we're on lap number 4 now of 22.
Okay, gap ahead is 2.5 seconds.
And Dimitrov navigating Lacombe nicely, so we'll bring it back to our battle for 2nd place, or battle for the lead effectively. As you see it from Corbin McCauley's perspective, 7/10 separating 1 through 3 right now. Of course, Colby Luca again with that 3-second time penalty to his name already. And even McCauley running wide there, but it looks like he holds on nicely. And by extension, Colby Luca, who again on track is your race leader. But again, for the benefit of those at home, he does have the 3-second time penalty, as you can see on the leaderboard. And now as the 3 make their way down through Blanchiment, that gap right underneath the 2nd, so McCauley will have the benefit of DRS, but Mason Pope obviously will as well in 2nd. So these 3, they'll probably be kind of joined at the hip here for a little bit. Michael Dimitrov another 3.5 seconds down the track in 4th place. And McCauley with a little bit of a wobble out of La Source. And that might allow Luca and Pope to get away here. As we go Hemel straight. And let's just see, I may have to actually set up a new room to try and bring Regan McCauley back in. Not 100% sure what's going wrong here. Luckily, I've got another microphone, so I can do the old walk and talk. As I can tell you, Corbin McCauley, he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty for his own troubles, unfortunately. So, not the night he's wanted to have, but certainly Mason Pope feeling pretty good about things right now. As again, we're trying to bring our commentary booth back in real time. And just trying to get this all done up properly. And again, hopefully we'll have everything back up and running relatively soon. As I'm, again, working on this in real time right about now. And yeah, hopefully we'll be up and running tickety-boo here. Okay, everything looking a little bit better from my perspective, at least, as we see, again, Luca's still in the lead. It looks like McCauley's made the move on Mason Pope, but if you're Mason Pope, you're not too concerned right now, as again, both drivers ahead have 3-second time penalties. Pope running clean here so far. And as a matter of fact, go ahead and bring it back to his perspective. And we'll bring it back to our own live feed. And Pope trying to get onto the back of McCauley here, less than 4/10 back as they wind their way down the hill. And again, hopefully, well, I'm seeing him now at least. Just see if that's going to help me out. So let's try and bring him in here, see if we've got our issues all worked out. Seconds. Well, I hear you through the phone, so that's encouraging. And yeah, we've got level, and I think you're back, dude. Back just in time for a caution, it would appear. Something like the...
What does that have to do with this?
Well, it looks like whatever happened, back on track anyway, the yellow appears to have cleared itself up as we're on to lap number 7 of 22 now. Crazy to think that a race on a 7-kilometer track can feel like it's flying by, but here we are. And we're on board with Mason Pope right now. And as you can see, again, for a bit of a summary, Colby Luca and Corbin McCauley, they're 1-2 on track right now, but both have 3-second time penalties for exceeding track limits. So, again, that makes Mason Pope the de facto leader as, okay, of course, we'd bloody get disconnected as soon as I bring it to full screen, but good news is we still have our driver views. So, we're going to go ahead and bring those right back into play here. Matter of fact, we'll do that right about now. And we bring it back to the other McCauley who happens to be nearer to the studio. And he's still, again, on track in 2nd place. And, okay, I'm being told game volume might be a wee bit on the high side, but we're off of that feed now, so we'll have to kind of figure it out as we go along. Yeah, if we happen to wind up back with our regular spectator mode, I'll certainly make that adjustment. Or even boost him as well. Just, yeah, trying to get back in. But again, we're still able to watch with the benefit of our actual driver feeds here. Again, we're still watching Corbin McCauley, who's overtaken Colby Luca here now. And did Mason Pope go in for an early pit stop, I wonder? Because I don't see him there on the board anymore. So it looks like...
Yeah, on the pit lane.
Yeah, so Pope, yeah, he has in fact pitted as we bring it back to our regular feed here, which is following Colby Luca around. So it's effectively a race between these two right now, with again Pope making the early pit stop. Meanwhile, it looks like Dan Cudmore and Jason Butler are having a pretty good battle over 5th place. We'll go ahead and take a look down the field there, or at least they were. Or maybe I'm mistaken. I think it might be Darcy Ford and Jason Butler. As a matter of fact, Ford there in 6th, Butler down in 7th. And there you see the gap, about 3/4 of a second. And so, right now, your order as we're on lap 8 is, again, McCauley on track is your leader, Luca on track is 2nd, and, yeah, Robert Narakaj in 3rd, but he's 7 seconds back of that battle. So, as it stands, McCauley and Luca, they are your race leaders. So, we will go ahead
I can confirm I'm currently leading with a time You didn't specify.
Hey, no, don't have to. Because again, second place also has the time penalty. Or did I say your name? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Oh, as Butler spins out of the bus stop.
No, I was joking that you said Macaulay and you didn't specify which one.
Ah. Well played, sir. Well played.
Luca's got the run here on Macaulay.
And let's go back to that here. And there you see it wheel to wheel down the straight. Macaulay's going to have the inside line.
Macaulay gets it.
He holds on. Yeah, we just brought his stream back just as we were kind of getting to that battle here. As it looks like Macaulay's going to put the AI of Mike Nickens down a lap. And now we'll bring it back to our regular feed as we're on lap number 9 of 22. I think we've got our audio situation all sorted out here now as well. So everything should be, somewhat presentable here for the rest of the way. Knock on some form of wood if you've got it. And I realize how bad that could have sounded, but what would sound good to Michael Dimitrov here is he's catching up to Robert Narakaj, trying to get into third place. Oh, it runs a little bit wide there through the turn. So that should allow Narakaj to get a little bit of breathing room here, and indeed it does. That gap now up to about 2.3 seconds between those two. As it looks like Macaulay and Luca both headed into pit lane. And Darcy Cudmore picking up a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. And there you see Macaulay will get out first. Michael Dimitrov in pit lane as well. Jason Butler too. And as
did he just prevent Luca from getting in his pit stall there? I know it's a game thing, but that might have just happened. I swear I saw that.
It may have, but again, it may also be a case of just the game looking weird too. As we're on board with our de facto race leader right now, Robert Narakaj. He's got about a 5.8 second lead on Dan Cudmore as we're on lap number 10 of 22. And Darcy Ford picking up a 3-second time penalty for his misfortunes. And let's just see who's yet to pit. So, notably Robert Narakaj, Dan Cudmore, Andy Hurdle, Ivan Reynolds. They're the four, or Mike Nickens down there at the bottom as well. Those 5 have yet to pit as Luca picks up another 3-second time penalty. And even Narakaj running a bit wide through that turn. And
yeah, I think what I saw there with the pit lane thing, yeah, that definitely, the game might have screwed over Luca there because he's like 6.5 seconds back now, and yeah, he got the another 3-second time penalty added on, so that's gonna basically have him about 12 seconds behind practically. So whenever Narakaj and Cudmore eventually come down pit lane, then Macaulay's
I can tell you is right now.
Macaulay's gonna have a massive lead, and yeah, there's pit stops going on now.
Both guys in now, and notably Andy Hurdle, he started on the hards. That's why he hasn't pitted yet. So he's kind of running the alternate strategy here.
I mean, he's been hanging on. He's only about just under 2.5 seconds behind Macaulay here, so technically with the time penalty, Andy Hurdle is the current leader.
Indeed he is. Very well observed here as we're beginning lap 11. And it looks like a glut of drivers just kind of causing that yellow. Nothing really to worry about there though. As again, Hurdle, he's got those hards up to temperature now. Again, he started on them, as did Ivan Reynolds, who's up into 4th. Well, make that 5th as Mason Popes just made the move on the admittedly much fresher hards. But again, if you're Andy Hurdle, You know, if you can find a way to do something on the mediums or even stretch it into a soft stint like you see Jason Butler doing now, maybe you've got a shot on pace at the very end of this one. Especially if he keeps it clean in relation to the penalties.
Yeah, I just look back at the again at the pit stop situation. They both, Macaulay and Luca, both pitted in the same quote-unquote stall or whatever you call it.
I mean, there's double stacking and then there's that.
I don't even know what to say at this point. The technical issues, we got that. Everything's happening.
Yes. With absolutely no apologies to Bob Cole for saying everything is happening. That is, a matter of fact, what is going down here as Hurdle comes through to complete another lap. We're on lap 12 now. Meanwhile, we've got a yellow in Sector 2. Not 100% sure what's gone down there. Would that be Darcy Ford, perhaps? And indeed, Ford, he's got something janky going on there. Can't quite get it sorted out as he drops down to 9th. And Reynolds comes in for his pit stop.
Yeah, that'd be the Austrian Grand Prix winner. I know he and Ty Higginbottom for Atlantic Motorsports put on a very stellar doubleheader last Tuesday night. Both Higginbottom finished second both times, Ford went first and third, but both of them still managed on the podium both times, and that's why they're now leading the constructors, obviously. So Alpha Flo is going to have to figure something out to get back in the battle, as Dan Cudmore and Michael Dimitrov both started off the season pretty good, but then slowly Atlantic Motorsports started crawling their way up. So it's starting to get a tight battle there in the constructors. We didn't really see a whole lot of that at the beginning of the season, but now we're beginning to see that. And of course, what just happened to Darcy Ford there, that is only going to probably hinder the chances of keeping that lead. So
indeed so. Meanwhile, Mike Greathouse picked up a 3-second time penalty, again presumably for more corner cutting infringement. As again, we're back on with Andy Hurdle. He's got Colby Luca on his tail, but again, Luca with 6 seconds of penalties to be dealing with. So Hurdle, not a whole lot to worry about here in P2. Just a matter of how long he's going to stay out on those hards. And the answer is one more corner as he comes into pit lane. So we'll see how the swapped strategy, so to speak, will work out. And let's actually see what tire's waiting for him here. I would presume it's the medium. I would imagine, 9.5, 10 laps might be a bit much, and indeed there is the yellow stripe going on.
Interesting call there. Again, though, the laps have winded down versus when the other drivers came down the pit lanes, so anything could happen. That's practically the statement. That's
speaking
really
of anything happening, here's Narakaj at the end of the Kemmel Straight on Mason Pope. These two are going to battle right through Lacombe. Oh, Narakaj! He got spun around! And that is not what we wanted to see. This has got to be a safety car here, I'd have to think.
Virtual safety car.
VSC, okay, you're seeing that ahead of me so far. But yeah, Narakaj, we saw the DQ for winding up in the wrong direction. So that'll be the end of his night. It was a good battle, though, between those two. As we try to bring it back to Mason Pope now. Again, full course yellow. And again, you said you saw VSC pop up somewhere?
Yeah, that would be Macaulay's perspective.
Okay, so that is the best of our knowledge here so far. I would imagine...
Now it's ending.
I was going to say, I imagine it would have only been a VSC given the disqualification. Oh, but Darcy Cudmore may have jumped the gun there a little bit. He's got himself a drive-through penalty.
Well, we're back to green now. Virtual safety car over. Macaulay's still in the lead there. He does have the 3-second time penalty, but then Colby Luca again with the 6-second time penalty. So that's practically about 13 seconds behind, which is about the equivalent to almost Mason Pope there. So Macaulay still has a pretty massive lead as long as he doesn't really screw himself over anymore at any point, like, or at least the game doesn't screw him over. Then we might finally be able to get the I'll call it the quote-unquote overdue victory that we surprisingly haven't seen from him yet. He probably should have 2 or 3 wins by now, considering how well he's done in previous races. So as long as nothing goes against him in these final couple laps here, we might finally be able to get a victory out of him after what has been such poor luck. Although the broadcaster jinx might just happen there.
You say that, it is lap 14 of 22. And I mean, if that happens, you may wind up with a hole in your bedroom wall, but we'll have to see.
We'll keep that talk. Just we'll zip our mouths on that one.
Yeah, you specifically.
Or I'll wait on that one.
As we bring it back here now again, Macaulay with again what would be like a net 9.5 second lead now over Colby Luca. As he comes through Blanchiment, whips it through that corner. And yeah, not really a whole lot happening on track right now in terms of close battles. Closest I guess we'll get would be 5 through 7 on track, albeit Darcy Ford in 6th has a few seconds of time penalties to navigate there as well. And he's about 1.5 seconds back of Dan Cudmore, at least on track anyway, for 5th place. As we're now on lap 15 of 22, so already 2/3 of the race distance covered here, or just about. As looks like Andy Hurdle has jumped up a position here as Butler's made his way into pit lane. That stint on the soft tires did him no favors, so Butler forced to come in again. And that's going to drop him down from 8th, or yeah, a couple of positions anyway. As Butler rejoins in 8th, right ahead of Ivan Reynolds, but Reynolds is going to have the good run out of La Source. Looks like Butler's just going to hold on to the position. Although it should be noted, Reynolds will have DRS coming down the Kemmel Straight. And so we'll see if Reynolds is able to get onto the back. Yeah, not quite. Meanwhile, it looks like Darcy Ford is again trying to get up onto the back of Dan Cudmore's. We got a yellow in Sector 3. That looks like a Silver Hornet. Darcy Cudmore may have gotten it wrong there in Sector 3, or at least out of the bus stop chicane. Now we got full course yellow. Are we looking at another VSC or a full one perhaps?
That's a VSC.
And that's number 2 in this race.
McCall, I mean, every time the yellow flag symbol comes up for Macaulay in particular, I can only imagine he's probably having a bit of a mini heart attack. Though the thing is, if we get the full safety car, that's going to be a legitimate heart attack.
Yeah, not 100% sure what's gone down there. Nobody has, there's no one that's indicated they're out.
And Colby Luca went to the pit lane. Was he involved in that? In something?
I'm not sure. I do know he's going to soft tires though.
Because he did start. His second started completely dropping right around that caution point. So can't confirm exactly what happened there. But Macaulay now has like a 13-second lead with the penalty. So he'll just have to pray that we don't get a full safety car, because again, with this bad luck, this would be quite the resurgence, especially for the Hungarian Grand Prix after having a lead on a late restart, and then unfortunately having an incident with Darcy Ford, taking him out, and Colby Luca went on to win. So he's definitely thinking about that, and again, he's just praying that we don't get that full safety car.
And I'll just confirm these timelines from his stream as well, make sure our timing isn't off, and indeed it is the case. As you say, 13.5 second lead over Mason Pope right now. Again, that's a net 13.5 with the time penalties factored in. Dan Cudmore up into 3rd. Darcy Ford in fourth, albeit again 5 or 3 second time penalty, so that would promote Michael Dimitrov if the results were to stand. As we'll bring it back to McCauley coming through the bus stop, and he's about to be in lap 17 now. And again, that gap staying right around that kind of mid-teens range. But certainly, you know, it's been a showcase for him so far. As he makes his way onto the Kemmel Straight, not a soul around him, basically. Which, I mean, it's obviously not a bad thing to have that gap, but also at the same time, given a track like this, where do you think the focus is?
Pardon that, apologies, was looking through some stuff there.
No, that's totally fine. Just kind of wondering about a comment of trying to stay focused knowing you have that kind of a gap.
Oh yeah, just you gotta take it easy through every single corner, especially again with some details I discussed about the track earlier, like again the fast straightaways, the swooping corners, especially in the corners. You gotta. We've seen past races the time if you just get like inches off on like any of these corners, the game will screw you over with some time penalty, and McCauley's definitely gone through plenty of them in past races, which has been the reason for a lot of his poor luck. So again, for this one, he's got that gap, so he'll need to definitely be very careful through pretty much every part of the track right here if he wants to have a shot at the victory. But at the same time, though, it's focusing too with having to focus without the possibility of another safety car. We've had virtual ones, but we haven't had a full one yet, and I just saw there McCauley was getting very loose off the final corner there. That's what I'm saying with taking it easy. You can't try and take a corner too confidently because it'll just spin you right around, and what do you know, Mason Pope might just come out of nowhere and steal it all, pull the victory possibly.
Yeah, maybe not the path you would have wanted, but certainly Mason Pope not one to be counted out here. As we're on to lap 18 now, so 5 to go in tonight's Belgian Grand Prix as Colby Luca posts the fastest lap on the race. Again, not a huge surprise, only one on the soft tires right now. And he's looking to get onto the back of Andy Hurdle here for what on track would be 6th place. But of course, Luca with the 6 seconds worth of time penalties, that kind of negates that. So Hurdle effectively will still be 6th if Luca's able to get close enough to make the move. And yeah, Luca right up onto the back out of Lacombe. And trying to get that look on the outside. Trying to poke that nose of the Aries in there. But it looks like Hurdle's going to hang on here for the time being. And yeah, like I said earlier, it's basically a thrill ride the rest of the lap. Everything just kind of sweeping the entire time. As Luca, does he have the move on the inside? No, Hurdle's going to shut that door again. Meanwhile,
every time
go ahead.
Sorry, every time I'm seeing those close battles, I guess it's kind of like real life with the let's say the father-son combo, where you have the father in the commentator booth, you got the son racing, kind of like the Burtons, for example, with Jeff and Harrison Burton in NASCAR. I know that's not Formula One, but I mean, that's probably the most relatable thing I can get between the stuff that we do. So it's kind of the brother situation here in wall trips and all that. So just every time I'm seeing a close battle, it's like, ooh.
And speaking of close battles,
professionalism galore.
Yeah, 3 through 5 on track here, separated by less than a second. We're watching it from the view of the man in 5th place, that being Michael Dimitrov, as they come down the Kemmel Straight. Dan Cudmore in 3rd right now. Darcy Ford trying to make a move. Again, Ford with 3 seconds of time penalties, so Ford goes through on track. Cudmore is still 3rd.
a little loose there. Might have been a possible glitch there. And
Dimitrov picks up 3 seconds for the track limits. So there you see how close the battle is. But again, Dan Cudmore stands to be the beneficiary of this battle, as he's the only one who's kept it clean out of these 3.
Oh yeah, I take one look from watching the leaderboard through the software here to all of a sudden on the leaderboard now I'm seeing all the time penalties here. We got the 3, the 3, the 3, the 3. It's just all over the place except for Dan Cudmore in the top 5. And I was even literally after I was saying all that relatable stuff with Corbin, he got a warning for exceeding track limits.
And
Go figure.
And speaking of warnings, I hadn't realized that Pope picked up a few seconds there along the way too.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I hadn't picked up on that. As we're on to lap number 20 of 22 now, so 3 to go. 2 at the line, of course. And again, McCauley, he's up 16.5 seconds now, and if we confirm that based on times, yeah, all square there between on track what is the top 3. McCauley's position won't be affected, Pope's position won't be affected. Darcy Ford, however, stands to drop to 4th, with Michael Dimitrov just picking up 3 seconds of penalties of his own. And Luca looks like after an early run, looks like he would fall to 7th if the race were to end now. But certainly still some racing to be had here as McCauley looks to put a driver lap down. I think that is Darcy Cudmore he's just passed. Or phased through, I guess.
Looking at the driver standings here too, Cudmore McCauley after Hungary tied at 342 points, and then Darcy Ford first place at 371. So there's a slight possibility here McCauley we might be seeing McCauley getting his first victory of the season, plus putting himself into the points lead. Maybe.
Yeah, it'd be a matter of kind of going through the qualifying positions. Certainly that gap will close as we're on to the penultimate lap here now. And again, McCauley holding on to a rather significant lead at this point, 17.3 seconds. As Dimitrov's just gotten ahead of Dan Cudmore here on track. We got a yellow in Sector 2. See if that clears itself up. And I don't know if it will. Let's just see, is that Mike Greathouse? Yeah, Greathouse has had a bit of a shunt. And as he lost the front wing, I thought he might have had some damage. Certainly an end plate off.
Still looks like he has it.
Well, the driver's side one is gone for sure. So trying to balance that bad boy out for another 10 kilometers or 6.5 miles for our American friends. Not the easiest ask in the world, but certainly not impossible either. As McCauley makes his way down through Sector 2 here. And again, the biggest thing he's done is, once the opportunity has presented itself, he's kind of kept things clean here, those corner cutting penalties aside. Or that one penalty, I should say.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only been one penalty that McCauley's gotten all race, so this has pretty much been his smoothest race so far, although he still has to go around for one more lap, so anything could happen here. Although at the same time, the gap that he's put on it's looking pretty much convincing at this point as he will take the white flag here.
And he has, as a matter of fact, as Michael Dimitrov's fallen down the board here a little bit. Not quite sure what happened to Dimitrov, but he's fallen down a couple of positions as Greathouse picks up another 3 seconds of penalties.
My wall is probably about to be completely collapsed by vocal cords.
Well, we'll find out soon enough as we will watch him navigate the Kemmel Straight for the final time here. With, again, a gap about 19 seconds here now. Oh, is that... Oh, I think that was a game glitch. Because I saw it from his perspective. That front right was headed straight into the wall. But I think he's probably all right.
No, he's all good on the driver perspective. But yeah, giving me a heart attack now, huh?
Yeah, and it gave him another 3 seconds of time penalties. But with about half a lap to go, I don't think he's as worried about it now. As we'll watch it in from his perspective here. We'll get the final 30 seconds or so of the lap, and it is basically flat out from right about here. As again, a season full of hard luck here for Corbin McCauley in Red Dirt Racing. It looks like it's about to go by the wayside here as he goes through Blanchimont for the final time. And into the bus stop, just academic at this point, and the winner for the second time at the Belgian Grand Prix is the number 71 of Corbin McCauley. If you recall, he did take it in season 1 as well, and so he's back on top.
Finally. That's all you can pretty much say. It's just finally, after 7 Grand Prix where literally nothing would go his way, from time penalties to other drivers just seemingly getting in his way, and just every race, every conversation I would have with him, there's always something that he would bring up against him, and his frustration was very clear. And after what happened, especially in the double header, and then in Hungary, involving the situation with Colby Luca and Darcy Ford, the frustration definitely got to him, and the resurgence has finally happened. He showed a resilient effort here tonight. He got the job done at again at his favorite track too, so it ain't gonna get any better than that. And we may also be possibly seeing him put on a gap at the points lead. Might even take it there as well. But yeah, finally, it's his first win in a very long time, and also too as well, if we don't count this track out for the All-Star Series, then technically this is his 3rd victory in a row at this track. He's already won here twice, so this is, you could say 3 for 3 or 3 for 4, but either way, he's won here 3 times now, which is an absolutely terrific accomplishment.
Yeah, certainly not an easy track to make that happen at. Certainly one of the classics, as again we're kind of watching it from Mason Pope's perspective as he goes through his cool down lap, and a good lap for him as well as he finishes up P2. As again we're on board with your race winner Corbin McCauley, and we'll see who picks up driver of the day. Andy Hurdle once again. He just seems to be in the right place at the right time to make up those gaps, as we will head to the podium celebrations. And there's Mr. McCauley giving a bit of a wave.